All right, and we welcome on a very, very, very special guest. It is Mr. Andrew Thompson. You can find him on YouTube at Drew Dekes and on X at Drew Dekes. How are we doing this evening?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me on. Well, I should have thought about what I was going to say first there. I was pretty jumbled.
No, absolutely. We appreciate you coming on. We were going to have you for our draft spectacular episode, live stream, whatever you want to call it. But unfortunately,
fortunately,
yeah, the Habs had other plans. I don't know. I guess we'll get to that. That's actually, a good point. But the Habs had better ideas. This is the Habs overhaul, by the way, brought to you by CustomConcessions.net. But I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about, or at least bring you on to discuss, was that trade. Noah Dobson coming back to the Montreal Canadiens. In exchange, the Canadiens gave away 2 first-round picks and then Emil Hyman. Obviously, this is Heineman. Yeah, Heineman came back. But Dobson does sign a 8-year extension worth $9.5 million. So just as our residents, Habs homer, what was your first kind of reaction to the deal being done?
Definitely a homer, so that is accurate. Yeah, like the first reaction was, I'm trying to think back now. It's been a whirlwind few days with the draft and everything, right?
Yes.
So, and they also just made another deal. They just traded Caden Primo as well. So this is like half an hour ago.
I did not see that.
That is pretty fresh, and that's just for a 7th rounder, so not a big deal. But I think we all kind of knew that Primo didn't have a long-term future with the Canadiens, unfortunately. But as far as the Dobson trade, yeah, like it was kind of rumored. I mean, Marco D'Amico is someone that I think a lot of people are starting to follow more because he's really been very accurate lately with his postings on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And the Canadiens had made a formal offer for Noah Dobson. That was reported. And then, Friday afternoon carried on. And then sure enough, boom, there's the deal. And then the massive extension with it. So, not a small amount of change to throw at a guy that Islanders fans have been kind of so in their comments back to me about their feelings of having him in Long Island for many years. But one thing that's clear is that, and I think it's a big starting to become a bigger draw is the Marty St. Louis factor in Montreal, and just playing for a coach like him, a guy who can relate to every player at every level, whether you've been on waivers, whether you've been on the 4th line, a healthy scratch, on the top line, Conn Smythe. I don't know that Marty won the Conn Smythe, but I think he won the Hart Trophy, I'm pretty sure. And he's a Hockey Hall of Famer. He's won the Stanley Cup. He's won gold medal with Team Canada. He's won at every level, right? So every player that the Canadiens acquire now, whether it's a defenseman or a forward or even a goaltender, they can relate to him. And they want to play for him because he knows what it's like from every aspect of putting together a team. So I think that with Dobson coming in now, it really solidifies the right side because, a lot of people still have questions about David Reinbacher and if he's going to be someone that's going to be in the top 4 for a long time with the Canadiens. Was it worth taking him over taking a forward in the 23 draft? I certainly wasn't a fan of it at first. I really wanted a forward. But then, I was also wanting Shane Wright over Slavkovsky. So, like, I am realizing how little I know as a fan compared to what the management knows. So that's what keeps me humble. Every single year, I'm pretty much wrong. So the only thing I think I had right was the Patrick Laine trade. I thought we were going to take a swing at him, and they did. Nice. But Noah Dobson's an interesting one because, he's not known for his physical play. Like, when it comes to the playoffs and what the Canadiens really need in order to sustain a long playoff run is they're going to have to withstand, like a lot of teams, everyone's learning this, is that you're going to have to, withstand a beating for 4 rounds if you're going to go all the way, right? But Noah Dobson is a really solid puck mover. They really did their homework on him, Kent Hughes said, before making that deal. I mean, when they're sure of something in Montreal, like Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes, they go for it. They're aggressive, and moving those two first-round picks, along with Emil Heineman, was a pretty decent price, I think, to pay for Noah Dobson. But now on your right side, you've got Noah Dobson, you've got David Reinbacher, Logan Mayhews. We're still wondering if he's going to become a full-time NHLer. You got Alex Carrier still there, and this is all just right shot defensemen. David Savard just retired, right? So there's room there's really room for Noah Dobson. So to go from David Savard to Noah Dobson is quite the upgrade, right? And David Savard left behind a wealth of wisdom and knowledge to the young defensemen of the Canadians and even in the rest of the team, right? Mm-hmm. So the guys that are already there can benefit from that. And I think Noah Dobson's going to fit in really well. His age, with the Caulfields and Suzuki's and Goulies, like these guys are all pretty close to the same age. They're all going to come up together. And I think that he's going to be a really nice compliment to the D-core. And if, as you saw Seth Jones and Aaron Ekblad just do, I mean, having one right shot defenseman in Aaron Ekblad is great. Having two with Seth Jones is even better.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. Yeah, it's definitely not fair. I'm glad you brought up David Savard, though, because that kind of spurred another question, because we are kind of homers on this podcast as well. Do you think David Savard was a better Montreal Blue Jacket than Josh Anderson currently is?
Montreal Blue Jacket. Nice.
Well done. I like the creative spin on that. Something, Josh has really been he's had his ups and downs in Montreal, but I think that's a good question. I think from the defensive side of things, like the defensemen on the Canadians really, again, like I just said, they're going to benefit from everything he's leaving behind. He's a Stanley Cup winner. Mm-hmm. But as far as between the two, I think from an overall perspective, Josh Anderson's going to have the bigger impact and has already. The 2021 Cup run, the improbable, sort of COVID Canadian Division Cup run, that's where it all started for Josh Anderson. Yeah. And teams were calling for him when Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton came on board. And I spoke to Nick Kyprios in an interview, and he confirmed it. He's like, there's lots of calls coming in on Josh. And I think that's when the Canadians realized, like, we want to keep this guy. There's more value to him staying here than there is to trading him. And clearly in this playoff run they just had against Washington, that was the case. I mean, when's the last time you saw a bench brawl, like a one-on-one bench brawl?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's only one thing, but he also had a better season overall offensively and defensively too. They used him on the penalty kill all season. They gave him a bigger role. So I think that he's had the bigger impact than David Savard as a Montreal Blue Jacket.
Yeah, 100%.
Love that.
And with, I guess with these moves too, obviously with Dobson comes expectations, I would think, especially for this team.
Yes.
With how young they are, do you think that they can handle these expectations, as a man who watches the games and, kind of maybe studies the team a lot more than we do? Do you see them being able to handle the expectation of now having to make playoffs, maybe winning another series? Because obviously coming into this year, there wasn't really much of an expectation. If a lot of guys took a step forward, that'd be great. It wasn't necessarily based on if they make the playoffs or not, but they a little bit overachieved. So now is there room for letdown, or do you think they take that next step?
Yeah, I mean, the Dobson deal certainly leaves room for letdown if they don't make it now. So, I mean, then again, like we're in a time frame like where we have some spots to fill. I mean, Christian Dvorak is a UFA. Yoel Armia is a UFA. That's two top 9 guys. Right? Well, I mean, Armia was the 4th line guy. He went up and down a lot. Mm-hmm. Dvorak was with Anderson and Gallagher on a pretty steady line most of the season, and they kind of helped the Canadians make the playoffs. So I think that, if you look at Lane Hudson as a good example of, can he handle it, right? Can he handle coming in, being a rookie, and will everything he does translate at the NHL level? Well, he just answered that question.
Yeah, I'll say.
So that's one example. So I think that he just has the skill and the talent that we're able to, on his own, do that, and be able to make such a difference and contribute as much as he did and win himself Rookie of the Year, win the Calder. But with Dobson, he's coming in with a decent amount of NHL experience, right? He's not coming in as a Lane Hudson or as an Arbor Jackeye or a Jaden Struble, guys that don't have very much NHL experience to be able to look back on and draw from. So I think that Dobson coming in is hopefully going to help elevate the defense core and hopefully elevate expectations at the same time. That's what I hope is, with his cap hit at $9.5 million for 8 years, you better believe that expectations are going to be high on him as an individual player.
Yeah.
So I think if the Canadians didn't make the playoffs next season, it would definitely be a letdown. But it's also dependent upon who they add in the forward group right now as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're on Hudson. So do you think that Dobson and Hudson are going to maybe clash a little bit? Because obviously Dobson was the guy on the island, and now, Hudson, I don't know, maybe you want to say he is the guy now, but he's definitely going to be the guy. Could Dobson be like the Devon Taves to Cale Makar of, the Lane Hudson situation? Do you pick up what I'm putting down there?
Yeah, I think, you know what, the biggest thing that's come out of the last few years with the way the Canadiens have built this team is culture, and how they've tried to establish like a brotherhood amongst each other. And like, as a fan, like following them as closely as I do, and as many others do too, you kind of feel that. And I've been fortunate. Like, I actually had the chance to have like a 5-minute conversation with Kent Hughes in person, and in meeting Marty a couple times, and just the players too, like, and actually getting up close. And you only share a moment or two with these guys. It doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things. We don't know each other personally,
right?
But you sort of get a vibe that like these guys genuinely are on the same page. Jeff Gorton too, but with Lane, with Nick Suzuki leading the way too, and like I've never heard of talking about Nick just for a second. I've long-winded roundabout answers if you can't tell.
That's okay.
But I get there eventually. But with the way Nick Suzuki approached Kent Hughes at the trade deadline, which we all heard about, how he didn't want Kent Hughes to make any moves, he put it on his shoulders, and Kent Hughes challenged him and said, if you don't want me to trade these guys, you better put this team on your back and, make a serious push to the playoffs. And that's what he did. And then they got there. So these guys really in the room, I think they have a really, really good room. And Noah Dobson coming in, I really feel like character matters a lot to the Canadiens and the locker room, the management. So I think that they did their homework on him as a person too, and not just a player. So in terms of Hudson and him clashing, I think I think fans are going to be more excited to know that, like, hey, we got a guy on the right side now that can do some of what Lane Hudson does, being a puck-moving defenseman, in transition, getting the puck up to forwards and creating offense quickly. So I think that he's going to be a compliment and not a hindrance by any means to Lane Hudson. I think that they're both going to be excited to have each other as teammates, I would hope, and see what they can do collaboratively. Whether they play together or not, I think doesn't matter. It's more just like, you guys both got to be contributing now. And I'd rather them be split up, if anything, maybe,
yes,
just so that they can just, give more on each line and kind of spread the love a bit.
Clashing was probably not the right choice of word, because I think you hit the nail on the head with where I was going with that. Clashing, I don't think, was the right choice of word. There's only one puck.
Fair enough.
There's only one puck.
Yeah, there is only one puck. Yeah, that's right. And moving it back and forth faster and more efficiently, if that's what might happen. I mean, you wonder how Dobson might play on the power play, because Hudson's going to be the quarterback, right? So maybe
ice time. Yeah.
So we'll see, but I think they're going to make it work one way or the other. It's a good problem to have right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's to say you'd rather have it than not. That's for sure.
Right.
And you brought up Lane Hudson. He's making $950,000 this year. It might be the best deal literally in the league. We should maybe do an episode of that later in the future. Maybe a Mount Rushmore of best NHL contracts right now. I mean, that might be a good one.
This is a classic.
Yeah, that would be.
It's a classic.
Actually, we'll definitely do that. But I wanted to ask, though, because obviously he's due for an extension in the coming months, hopefully, at least by the end of next year. So do you see over under? Do you see both of them to combine making over $20 million? I mean, what kind of deal would you say that you would pay Lane Hudson? Is it worth the predicament that you're going to be in, or do they not think they're going to keep Hudson? What would you say?
You're way too early prediction on this.
Yeah.
Well, it might not be way too early. I mean, for all we know, after July 1st, I mean, he is eligible to sign an extension. So I think the way the Canadiens have been doing their business, he's going to sign sooner than later. Mm-hmm. So the way they did Slavkovsky's contract, Gouli, like, they didn't wait on these guys, right? And even Cole Caulfield, like Nick Suzuki's contract was ancient. It was signed by Mark Bergevin's regime, I'm pretty sure. So, that's a heck of a discount at this point, right? And Nick Suzuki, these guys want to win, right? Like, that's the whole thing. But I think that Lane Hudson, I had this conversation with a subscriber or viewer the other day about where he's going to land in his contract. This is before we got Dobson, by the way.
Yeah.
So you can imagine now what that contract could look like. But it's probably going to be most definitely in the $9 million range. I said it would be between 8 and 9. And here's the thing, too, is that in order to acquire Noah Dobson, the Canadiens, I think, had to overpay a bit. And what's interesting in saying that, though, is that other teams were interested, and apparently he left money on the table. Mm-hmm. So I think it was I don't know how much money he left on the table, but Noah Dobson wanted to be a Montreal Canadian. Other teams were definitely in on him, though. And I think, though, with Lane Hutson, because he's already here, because they don't have to acquire him via acquisition, I think he'd be willing to maybe even take a bit less than Dobson. Maybe I'm crazy in saying that. I don't know. Because I think now if the salary cap is going up, it wouldn't be a surprise if Lane Hutson signs for around $10 million.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised at all at the same time to see him make about the same or even a bit less. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Lane Hutson, I heard someone say in the radio the other day, this kid would play hockey for $1. Like I actually heard somebody say that, and I'm like, this guy loves hockey so much. He's such a hockey junkie that, like, you know, you wouldn't be surprised if he took less at this point. So I will be thrilled either way to see him get extended, but it would not shock me if he took the same or a bit less. It wouldn't.
No, absolutely. Well, like you said, love of the game. The culture really probably speaks to that love too. To your point, you know, they look for guys that, you know, exude those values and all that kind of stuff. But they are projected. The Canadians are projected currently to be a little over $3.4 million over the cap. So as far as moving into July 1st with the obviously free agent period coming up, is there any moves that you expect this team to make as far as, you know, a cap dump or what they could do to maneuver themselves into a better position what they are now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think what's important to remember too is that, you know, Carey Price is $10.5 million, which has been placed in LTIR year over year, is going to happen. But you're allowed to be over the cap until training camp starts, right? So, with that in mind, I think that they know that, and they even have told fans that they've hired staff. Like I think it's John Sedgwick, who's the GM of the Laval Rocket now. It's either him or somebody else is specifically looking after the salary cap. So I think they're going to figure that out. But they're obviously over right now, but you're allowed to be. So gotcha. I think they may. It's interesting to think about who they're going to maybe move out, because I think the biggest question mark for me right now, at least someone who's a fan favorite with the Canadians, is Arber Xhekaj. And he's only got one more year left on his deal. I wonder how much of an attractive piece he is to other teams, because when he was sent down to Laval, not last season, the season before, teams were calling. Like, it was on Hockey Night in Canada. We heard Elliot Friedman saying that teams were like, if you're interested in Arber Xhekaj, we are interested in Arber. Like, if you're interested in moving him, he had a lot of interest at that point. I don't know with the Canadians' defensive depth if he has a long-term future with the Canadians, and it's hard for me to say because I know that offends a lot of Canadians fans probably. But in terms of how much he brings, you know, like, I think the Canadians want as many complete defensemen as possible. I know that you need what Pierre Maguire calls nuclear deterrence and guys that can help handle the guys that are, you know, your Tom Wilsons of the world, Sam Bennett's of the world. I think you're going to need those players in the playoffs for sure. And I'm not saying that Arber Xhekaj isn't going to be a Montreal Canadian for sure, but in the top six on a pretty strong defensive core, I think it's going to be difficult. And there's more guys challenging him every year for a spot. Adam Engstrom comes to mind as someone who's going to make the team in Mike Matheson's place if they don't extend Matheson, which a lot of fans are not Matheson fans these days. But I think that they're going to make room right now as best they can, and I think that'll happen in the coming days and weeks. So I expect that the Kent Hughes to be busy, and I think they're going to make room. Even though they're over the cap right now, I think that when they identify a target, they're very aggressive. They go after it. So I'm not really that concerned in terms of cap space right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, Arbiter's making 1.3 right now. Really, I mean, that's a steal too. That's a great deal. Great.
Based on what he brings, though, I mean, I think it's pretty fair. He showed this year again being a healthy scratch throughout the first two games of the playoffs, even, and then throughout the season as well at times. That he's got to make better reads. He's got to make better decisions on the ice and bring more than just his physical and fighting to. He's got to be a better, well-rounded hockey player, I think, and that's what the Canadians want from him.
Yeah, 100%. You can never have too many of those guys. You can never, for sure. Now, I'm going to have to ask you about, you know, two guys here. Maybe a dumber question, maybe a guy more that you probably don't like, and then another guy that I know you love. So we'll start with the negative side. What did the Canadians do with Patrick Laine? this coming off season? Like what?
I gotta know. Yeah,
it's such a glaring question because we saw, the playoffs. He's obviously a healthy scratch. He's been up and down ever since he's left Columbus, basically, even maybe Winnipeg. You can go all the way back to those days. Yes. So just your thoughts on him real quick.
It's an interesting story with Patty because, I actually said that I thought the Canadiens would go after him, and it was the one.
Right, you called your shot.
Yeah, I think I was the one I actually got right. But, he's an interesting story, right? Because second overall behind Austin Matthews. I mean, the guy was like competing with him, who's going to be number one at one point. And he's a guy that's fairly one-dimensional. What he does well, though, is the hardest thing to do, and that's score goals, right? So he's still got another year left on his deal at his 8.7 cap hit. Yeah. So it's a big cap hit, but it was a risk the Canadiens were willing to take, and he did help get the Canadiens into the playoffs. Kent Hughes said it himself that the Canadiens don't make the playoffs without Patrick Laine and the goal scoring that he was able to bring. But he did break his finger, actually, in the playoffs, so that wasn't just a healthy scratch. That was actually an injury. And otherwise, though, when he was in the lineup in the playoffs, there was some questionable decision-making on his behalf. So it's more away from the puck that's the biggest concern with him, of course, and it always has been. He's been kind of a blue line and in player, as some folks say. But I'm really curious what's going to happen with him this season and how he's going to perform, knowing that his contract is up. Like, this is it for him in terms of showing your worth to the Canadiens or the next team that's going to take him, right? So 100%. I think there's still more to be desired from him. There always has been. And I think the Canadiens would like to see more consistency out of Patty, and clearly mentally he's in a much better place. I mean, these guys are still human beings at the end of the day, and I think we kind of, dehumanize them a bit sometimes when, from a distance we just assume that they're just live these rock star lives, and I'm sure they do to an extent. They have the money to show. We know what they make. So I hope for his sake that he has a good season and can help the Canadiens. I just want to see more consistency, I think, out of him. And I saw more like playmaking and passing ability. He's an underrated passer as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that went under noticed a bit.
No, 100%.
Yeah, if you're box score watching, I mean, you get what you get from him, and you figure he's not doing much, right? But he's got a heck of a shot. It's his wrist shot, his release, but it became predictable on the power play near the end of the season. Cole Caulfield is a bit less predictable, I find, as we saw him have his best goal scoring season this year, 37 goals. But with Laine, it's a curious case of, can he do a bit more even when history shows that he hasn't been able to.
Right, 100%. Now, I know this guy, next guy, I know you really love. I was kind of looking through your Twitter feed and everything. How awesome is it to have Ivan Demidov on your team? I mean, it's got to be like you've only gotten like a shot, right? You've only had like a small chaser of what this kid could really do.
This kid is going to be a problem.
Yeah. 2 points in the first period of his first playoff game. Like, just tell me, like, how great is it got to be a fan of a team that's got Ivan Demidov on it?
Yeah, I had his jersey halfway made before he even got here.
Nice. So, I saw that. Yeah.
So when it comes to him, I mean, I'm still like. I still can't believe we have him. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with that, because all the pre-draft shows last year for 2024 with my buddy Shane and I, we're just talking about how we were so not getting him. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't written in the stars. Like, if he fell to us at 5, like, God was shining on the Montreal Canadiens, and I guess maybe he was. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to, like, we all have super, super high expectations of this guy. And I think that fairly deservedly so, based on everything we've seen and heard. And he was Rookie of the Year in the KHL. He did, he broke Kaprizov's record in the KHL, and even other previous Russian records too. So expectations are absolutely sky high for Demidov, but it's a player that we've just craved in the Montreal market for a long, long time. I grew up watching Alex Kovalev, and he was a fun player to watch and a very frustrating player to watch at times, kind of like Patrick Laine was or is sometimes. Yep. But I think with Demidov, he mentioned having the Mamba mentality, in reference to Kobe Bryant. Yep. And that's a big thing to say, because Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest athletes of all time. Yeah. And I grew up watching Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant too. So to see somebody, say that is a big, set the expectations for himself pretty high, which I like. But we just haven't had that kind of talent in a long time, and that's what had fans so over the top excited, and to the point where they've already, as soon as like within the first week, the Canadians sold $250,000 worth of jerseys.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah. So like just that'll tell you
Crazy.
everything you need to know right there about how excited the fan base is for him. But as a fan myself, it's really, really exciting to know that we have a player like him who could electrify this fan base. I think probably the most since Guy Lafleur did.
Nice, yeah,
That's a
100%.
name.
So yeah,
That's a name.
so what feels better, having Demidov on your team or going 3 for 3 on your Tim Hortons hockey picks to get a free coffee?
Oh, okay.
Which one?
Did you see that?
I did. Oh yeah, trust me, I'm with you. I feel the same way though. Like if I
This
pick goal
guy.
scorers, there's no better thrill to me than picking a first goal scorer. So like
That's
to get a free coffee, oh my god, like that would be the epitome, right?
Well, I've gotten free coffee for a week, I think twice with
Nice.
the Timmy 6, which that is
Okay.
the best feeling.
Hell
for
yeah.
sure.
Hell
But
yeah.
to get all three was, I think I've only done that like twice as well, 2 or 3 times maybe.
Yeah.
So they're both, you know what? That's part of the hockey season. Like there's all the bonus fun things we get to participate in
100%.
throughout the season. That's one of them though, because I wasn't playing the Timmy's picks until someone finally told me, like, I'm like, why have I not been doing this? Like, what am I
Right.
doing?
Like the only thing better in life than coffee is free coffee. I mean, come on, like what are we talking about
Yeah.
here? 100%.
I am with you on that, my friend. I am with you.
The
you on that.
mocha, was it the mocha cafe? It's like the hot chocolate with the coffee. That's a nice little touch. Anyway, we could spend hours on Timmy Hose, but
Part of hockey culture, it sure is.
Yeah,
Tim Hortons
right.
all the way.
Yes.
You mentioned the other fun things that go with hockey season. Do you play fantasy at all, or do you dabble in that at all?
I do actually. My cousin got me into it, and I wasn't into it for a while either. I was a slow starter when it came to fantasy.
Okay.
And then my other work did like another onlinepools.com. It's just like a very small market, but we used that one, and that actually my first season I won that pool, which was awesome.
Nice.
But now fantasy, I've been renewing a league with my cousin every year, and that's been fun. I just won that one last year for the first time, where my cousin had to be dethroned because my cousin really had to be dethroned. He was always had the bragging rights for so long, and then he won it again this year, so he redeemed himself. But
Nice.
fantasy is a lot of fun too. I realized that it's a blast, like managing a team. When you're into it and your buddies are into it, and the draft is awesome. Like that's the best part.
Oh,
my
yes.
cousin, like I think like the draft day is better than Christmas for him.
Oh
So-
yeah. 100%. Yes.
Yeah,
You're in the right place. Yeah,
Yes.
he definitely sounds like a guy that
So-
would fit right in.
it's fun. A lot of
We
fun.
need to dabble in maybe a hockey content league or something. We got a couple. Obviously, with the draft and everything, we had quite a few podcasts. I think that'd be interested maybe doing that. Maybe we should put that together. I
That's
know we
an
got.
idea. I like that.
we got Commissioner
That's fun.
Canada Daddy over here, so
I'll
I know he'd be
I'll handle it.
itching at the bit for sure. Last 2 questions here, Brock. Did you have anything for Drew before I go?
No,
Because the last 2 I had were kind of dumb. So
Okay, well then, no, I don't have
I love dumb
anything. Yeah, I don't have anything super serious. I think you covered just about anything I could have wondered about. I knew we had to get to line A, so Dalton crossed that bridge. I'll be honest. As a Leafs fan, though, hearing this insight from a Habs fan, I can only imagine what you guys are feeling looking in. Like it just looks so fun. Like you hit the nail on the head with the Marty St. Louis culture stuff. Like I'm sure I can't even appreciate that outside looking in. It looks like a good time to be a Habs fan again. And the league is better when the Habs are good. I will die on that hill. I will die.
Respect to you, my friend, because as some of you may know, Dangle really inspired this channel to exist, like my own channel. And like I was laughing my head off watching him in the beginning, just like in 2019 when I first really discovered him. And it's fun, man. Like it's supposed to be fun being a hockey fan. And it's appreciated for me. Like I really appreciate when other fan bases can appreciate what it's like to be a Montreal fan, just like the atmosphere at the Bell Center.
Yes.
Visiting fans have said the same thing. Like visiting fans are like, I have goosebumps watching the Canadians come on the ice because it's just such a special connection the Canadians have with their fans. And we feel like we help contribute to their success. And I'm sure other fan bases do too. But Mike Camilleri described this in the 2010 playoffs when he said, you literally feel the fans while you're on the ice. Like you just feel the spirit. Like there's something like beyond what we can physically see that's going on.
And there are moments like that all over the place. Saku Koivu, it just jumps to mind.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
moments like that, they're all over the place in that building. Like it's just, I totally get what you're saying. Absolutely.
It's just really is one of a kind. And to hear Brian Hayes say that, like on Overdrive, like it's a cheat code, that's why the Canes were going to get in and they did. It's just, that's the part I think you're almost most proud of, is that we get to partake in this, like being a fan of this kind of environment where the team has this much love and support. And we are just as critical as well, just like Toronto fans. Right. But then like you score, you have a good game. And like, we are screaming our heads off, cheering for you all over.
Yeah. We're in. I'm all the way back in. Yeah,
that's
go.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm all the way back in.
I'm all the way back in.
Oh man, yeah, you guys are the seventh man. That's got to be it's got to be so much fun.
Yes,
100%.
I haven't been to. I got to be honest with you guys. I haven't been to a playoff game yet, and I had tickets to Game 3 of the Washington series when Josh Anderson tumbles. I could have gone to that game. I very well could have gone to that game. I ended up selling them because I just there's reasons for it. Like just I wanted to kind of wait until we were like really like I wanted the Canadiens to have a chance to win that series. I didn't think they had a great chance to win it, but that game, they won that game, and like the high alone just from winning that one game for the first playoff game at home in 8 years with a full building was worth waiting for. And I think it was worth the wait for me to go next season, because that's, if they make it next season, I'm going for sure. So I'm on the waiting list for season tickets actually, and I'm supposed to get a call like any day now. I'm sharing them with a Leafs fan friend, by the way. So
nice.
That's good.
So it's an investment. It's an investment. It's, but it's not like Toronto. I will say that it's a lot cheaper than Toronto, which disappoints me for Leaf fans' sake.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah,
that's another conversation.
We could go down the road. A whole other thing.
We could do that someday.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I had the other two questions I had. Are you still on the WWE train? Because I found a tweet that you were buying back in on WrestleMania last year, I believe.
Oh baby.
Yes.
Yeah, they just had a premium live event. So how's your WWE kind of monologue going?
It's not great right now. Since they switched Raw to Netflix, like I don't have Netflix, so I'm also not trying to say I was tuning in every Monday night. I grew up in the Attitude Era. I was spoiled rotten, and I still go back and watch all those clips on YouTube. So, still enjoy digging into that stuff. But my buddy Chris and I, we kind of laugh now when we watch wrestling. We just kind of find it funny, like even like things that most people might not. I don't know, but still love watching it when I do. It's still entertaining. Still got a heart for it. Love watching podcasts with Triple H and hearing everything he has to say and all the stories from the past. And I still have a big heart for WWE, but I'm not like a consistent regular viewer. I can't lie.
Yeah, no, it's okay. That's okay. The fair weather fans are just as important as anybody else.
I am probably fair to say that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Well, we appreciate you joining us, Drew. This has been great. The last question is our SeatGeek question. You can download the SeatGeek app and use promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase. So catch a baseball game, maybe. That's about the only thing going on, unfortunately, courtesy of your friends here. I saw that you got to meet Shooter McGavin, or I guess, was it Christopher?
No, his name's Shooter McGavin. Stop.
Okay, sorry. You got to meet Shooter McGavin. So
I think he prefers Shooter over Chris. Yeah,
that would make a ton of sense.
That would definitely. That feels like it fits.
Christopher McDonald is his name.
McDonald, that's right. That's right.
But he's Shooter. He's Shooter.
Yeah. Yes. How excited are we for Happy Gilmore 2? Are you on the edge of your seat?
Honestly, like if let me just tell you this really quickly. My two friends from college, we took acting in college, broadcasting and acting.
Nice. Okay.
And we have a group chat between the three of us that is like nicknamed from a Happy Gilmore quote. So
yes,
we have been chomping at the bit, and we've actually gone as far as making plans to like watch the movie in Toronto together. And we haven't seen each other in person in years. And now we're just like, we have the greatest reason ever to get together right now and finally have a reunion between the three. So like, we're fired up, my buddies and I, to do that. And it was just surreal to meet Shooter, because I sent my buddies a personalized video with Shooter naming my friends in them, and like they just couldn't believe it.
Sick.
My buddy was so happy and so sad that he couldn't be there.
Yes.
He's his favorite movie villain of all time. So we are the trailer looks really good. The two
Yep.
trailers I've seen.
Yep.
I really hope the movie leaves us feeling good at the end, and that it was worth the wait. That's all I'm hoping for. So,
No,
yeah,
I'm sure.
so
it will.
excited.
That's
Is the group chat name? Is that the ninth chat at 9? Is that what the name of the chat is?
Ninth chat at 9. Nice.
There's so many names it could be, but it's you know what though? It's so random. Like we all find reasons to quote any small line from that movie at any point in the chat.
God,
So
yeah.
so the name of the group chat is "Who You Waving At, Happy?"
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
it's Mrs. Gilmore.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
my buddy just threw that name out there, and oh my gosh, is it ever fun to just go back and forth? Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah. Brock is our resident Happy Gilmore.
I could do that with you.
club
I could
president.
quote that movie all day. I can quote any line almost any day, anytime. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
You belong in the group chat, just saying.
do.
But yeah,
That'd be a great name for your fantasy team, Chubb's Other Hand, maybe. That would be a good one. That might be a good one.
Nice.
Oh man.
oh,
Awesome.
so good. And I think Chubb's son is in the movie or something like that.
Yes.
I did hear that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. Well,
Carl
Drew,
Weathers,
we'll-
R.I.P. But yeah,
Yes.
yes, it's way too soon. We lose way too many good actors. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, unfortunately. But Drew, we appreciate you joining us again. This has been great. It is in the contract now that anytime that we ask you to come on, that you do have to come on between the benches. So we appreciate that as always. You can check out Drew on YouTube at Drew Dekes and on X at Drew Dekes as well. Drew, thank you again for joining us, and go Habs, I guess.
yeah. Thank you. I had a blast, guys. Thanks for having me.